Hey guys, what's going on? Abby here, and in today's video we're going to be updating my Gamma Burst build for level 57. I was hesitant to put this update out just because I wanted to wait for Mayhem 2.0, but so many of you guys were requesting it and I figured it was good to put it out there so that you guys have an updated build to start Mayhem 2.0 with. We don't know yet what the changes are going to be, how difficult it's going to be. We just know that there are 10 different Mayhem levels coming with Mayhem 2.0, so it's going to get a lot more difficult. It'll be interesting to see how many builds hold up through Mayhem 2.0. However, I do feel really confident about this build. It runs true takedown super easy. It has high damage and high survivability, and the gear is pretty flexible. So I'm going to quickly show you guys the skill tree here. I'll pop it up on the screen so you can check it out. Not much difference from the 53 version. However, we do put 5 points into Furious Attack so that we get more gun damage stacks. This is always super great. But you can see with the Hunter tree, I have switched up some points here and there, but the last few points are going to be dependent on what you like to do and what weapons you're running. So for instance, with Two Fang, I've said this in my other flak videos, but if you are using weapons that are single projectile or unlisted projectile, then you want to go ahead and spec into Two Fang, put 5 out of 5 into there. If you are not, if you're running guns like the Boomsicle, the Brainstormer, the Maggie, the Bang Stick, if you're running weapons with multiple projectiles, so it says times 10, times 25, times 7, whatever it is, Two Fang is only going to add 1 projectile to that count. So the more projectiles you have, the less effective Two Fang is going to be. So use your discretion on that based on the gear that you have. If you don't put 5 out of 5 into Two Fang, then of course you can put it wherever you want. I would suggest Hunter's Eye. For this true takedown run, I only had 3 into Hunter's Eye. You could also take a couple out of Furious Attack and put 5 out of 5 into here if you are going to be doing a lot of true takedown. However, if you're just doing regular Slaughter Shaft, Proving Grounds, whatever, running through the story, I would recommend putting some points into Grim Harvest. It's going to give you flat gun damage, also gives you action skill damage and pet damage, which are a lot less on the priority list, but it's not bad. You can also put points into Second Intention if you like that quality of life for reload speed. Either of those are great options. The only other thing with the skill tree that I will mention is that if you are running co-op, it might be nice to remove 1 point out of the Hunter tree from Hunter's Eye or Second Intention if you went into there, and then putting it into All My BFFs. So if you're running with other players, you can now share 17% of your own health regen with your teammates. So that could be a nice little quality of life thing to do for your teammates if you run a lot of co-op. For the gear rundown, I'm going to show you guys while we watch my true takedown run. So for modifiers on this true takedown run, I had radiation damage plus 20% and enemies are more accurate. For the entire run, I only switched my shield up so that I could get bonus corrosive damage for the Wotan fight, but other than that, I kept everything the same. If you're just running through normal story or endgame slaughters, proving grounds, things like that, obviously the gear is very flexible. You're always going to want to look for the anointment. While Gamma Burst is active, gain 115% bonus radiation damage. That's the anointment you want on all of your guns. Second place to that is going to be consecutive hits. So if you can't find Gamma Burst but you have a gun that you really like, then I would choose consecutive hits. Consecutive hits can also be really great on the Brainstormer. And then as you guys know from previous videos of mine, I love Cryo. I love the Cryo element. It is so much fun and it provides a lot of crowd control and sustainability because you're freezing everything. So some of the weapons that I run are the Cryo Redistributor with the Gamma Burst Anointment. I also am really loving the Soul Render. You can get this from the second DLC, Guns, Love, and Tentacles. If you find a Soul Render, look for one with full auto. I really love the full auto ones. A Cryo one is perfect with Gamma Burst Anointment. The Clairvoyance is also a really great option. I like the full auto ones of those as well, the Gatlin prefix. So keep your eye out for that. That's also DLC 2. The Boomsicles are always great, but you have to be careful when you're going against the Valks with a corrosive Boomsicle because A couple of them are pretty aggressive and they can get in your face and cause you to blow yourself up with the splash damage, which is mostly why I prefer the corrosive cutsman in the takedown. But that's my loadout for the takedown up until Wotan. I go Redistributor, Brainstormer, Cutsman for the bosses, and then the Soul Render for single target damage. Another really great option is the Hyper Focus, Cryo, or any element really that matches the enemies you're going against with that Gamma Burst anointment. Of course, if you want to go the shotgun route, you could also use the Insider from the new DLC. You could use the Recursion, and then some great snipers like the Unseen Threat and the Skullmasher from the newest DLC, and the Krakatoa is really great as well. But those are just some options for you guys. Obviously, you can use whatever you prefer. The only thing that I would say is really recommended for the Gamma Burst build is the Brainstormer, because this is going to help you get your action skill back really quickly. You'll see it in the game footage here too. I'll switch to the Brainstormer when my Gamma Burst goes down. As long as there are multiple enemies there for you to chain that Brainstormer shot to, your Gamma Burst will come up immediately. And this is because we're taking advantage of head count. So whenever we score a critical hit, we have a chance to lower our action skill cooldown. With the Brainstormer, we're getting critical hits all over the place because we've also got the Megavore Capstone. So that interaction alone is going to allow us to have a really fast cooldown time. Now for the class mod, obviously we're going Red Fang here. We want our pet to be taunting all the enemies while our Gamma Burst is active. This is the best option here. I'm still using a level 53 Red Fang because it has amazing stats for what I run: weapon damage, SMG damage, and mag size. However, you can use whatever perks work for you, obviously. If you've got a point into He Bites here, you don't have to spec into it in the skill tree. However, since I switch to Bounty Hunter when I'm fighting bosses, I like to spec into He Bites. For the artifact, we're using the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. This is from DLC 2. It comes as a quest reward from Claptrap. This is going to give you 2 perks on here. It's also going to give you a stack of damage every time you shoot, up to 15 times, and then it adds an additional 90% damage on top of that. This is really great for mobbing, but if you don't have DLC 2, you could definitely use an Icebreaker Auto Idol or an Icebreaker Victory Rush. That works just as well. If you can get one with perks that complement your gun damage, either weapon damage or specific weapon damage is even better, with mag size, because that definitely helps quality of life. But both of these artifacts work really well. I think the Pearl outperforms Icebreaker just a little bit, especially if you're not going to be using Cryo all the time. For the grenade, we're going to be using the Hunter Seeker. Now, you want to find one of these with double divider on them. That's optimal. Obviously, you could use one with single divider. And the reason we use this Hunter Seeker is because it's going to actually keep some of our stacks up. So for instance, Furious Attack. And it's a really great grenade for flak, as the bullets that come off of this Hunter Seeker actually scale with our weapon damage. So I would say this is the top recommended for my Gamma build. You could always use a Piss Grenade as well if you want, which would be great for bossing if you're boss farming. And the one that I went with for this true takedown run was anointed with on grenade throw. Weapon, grenade, and action skill damage are increased by 25%. Now, you could also use an elemental one, but with Gamma, we're not going to get those anointments procced as often as, like, say, Rack Flak. So I thought that this would be a good test of this grenade anointment, and it worked out pretty well, to be honest. So it's up to you guys if you want to use it on grenade throw or an elemental ASE anointment. If you're boss farming, I would probably recommend an elemental anointment because you can fake burst and proc those, but for mobbing, it may be better to go with this, but I don't think it's going to matter too much either way, so just go with what you have. Now let's talk about the shield. We have a few options as Gamma Flak that I think work really well. However, there's definitely a clear winner for me. I made sure to test all the shields that I had, and I was able to get some old gods with elemental anoints to try out because I want to be able to give you guys the best recommendation. So overall, for the shields that I would recommend, the Old God shield, the Stopgap, and the Transformer is always a great option for a basic shield. And then the Recharger shield can work in a pinch as well. But after testing all of these shields, I feel like the Old God is the best way to go. We don't really have to worry with Gamma about being targeted that much. We're only vulnerable during that time that our Gamma is down. And like I said, you can use the Brainstormer to get it back up very quickly. So the Old God shield provides additional bonus elemental damage based on the resistance of the shield. So the one that I used in this true takedown was cryo resistance, which means that we get plus 20% cryo damage, which is huge because that's pretty much all I use. Of course, on this shield, you're going to also want the anointment on action skill and gain 50% bonus elemental damage. It doesn't necessarily have to be cryo because you could always use a cryo anointment on your grenade, but it's nice to have that bonus cryo damage. And then for Wotan, I did switch to a corrosive old god, so this is going to boost our corrosive damage since that's the majority of the element that I'm going to be shooting, and you would also want to have bonus corrosive damage on there as well. So I know that these are not available on Xbox yet, and it really sucks for everybody that's on Xbox. Hopefully we'll get these in the game soon, hopefully with Mayhem 2.0. So until we get those anointments, I would suggest using a stopgap, or it may be even better to use an old god and just have a different anointment on there like action skill cooldown or something like that to replace the elemental anoint. Alright guys, that's the quick and dirty on the updated Gamma Burst build at level 57. If you want to hear more about the mechanics of Gamma Burst, how to play it, stuff like that, then definitely go check out my level 53 video. I didn't want to reiterate all of that in this video since I'm probably going to make an update when 2.0 comes out. And always remember, you guys can come visit me on my Twitch channel. I stream Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We're always playing Borderlands, and I'm always willing to answer your guys' questions. So if you have any questions, if you want to see me play the build, then definitely head over there and say what's up. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Definitely your target! Light that giant bastard up!
This is my purpose. Death smile.
Monopoly threatened. Activating murder protocols.